Hi everyone, Skillsy here. Hope you're doing well wherever you are, and welcome to what I hope will be a bit of a helper video for those who are still a little bit indecisive when it comes to what next gen console they'll be getting in November. So, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you for your consideration the next gen console cheat sheet. You like it? Not bad, hey? Yeah. So why did I make this video? Well, mostly because even to this day, I'm still not 100% on what console I'm getting. And yes, I've got my own personal results for this particular cheat sheet, but in true Top Gear style, I actually reserve the right to change my mind right up to the time of purchase, as I've pre-ordered both consoles. So that said though, I will be using the results of this cheat sheet as my sort of seeing eye dog, just to help validate my decision sort of. Right, so let's get into it, shall we? As you can see, I've broken down the decision down into key factors that I think people will be taking into account, and I'll go through them as a bit of a side-by-side comparison, awarding what I'll call Skillsy stamps to the winner in that particular category. We'll add those up at the end, and hopefully we'll come out with some sort of winner. My only disclaimer though is that apart from the actual facts, please bear in mind that some of these factors will be based solely on my own personal experience or my opinions, but feel free to engage in some spirited conversation down below in the comments, and we'll see if we can have a bit of a debate on that. So we kick things off with perhaps the biggest factor, and that is price. I'll talk Australian prices for the time being because that's specific to me, and I'll assume that you know what the pricing is for your neck of the woods. Xbox One is $600 and the PS4 is $550. Why there's such a difference between US pricing and Australian pricing is beyond me, given that we're I think about 92 US cents at the moment, but don't get me started on that, that's an entirely different topic. For me here, the PS4 is obviously the clear winner. That $50 saving goes a bit of a way towards an extra game or an extra controller if you're buying for a family or a couple of kids, or even a better headset if you're not a huge fan of the stock headset that comes with the PS4. So in this round one, it's no surprise here, and it goes to the PS4. Factor number two is the specifications, and I'm just going to come out and say that for the most part this is a tie. It's a tie because from what I've read and from what's been reported, each console has at least one or two different facets that is either minutely better or minutely worse than the other console. Like I think I read about the splitting of the RAM between the operating system versus the games, or the clock speed, or the GPU power, blah blah blah. So let's not split hairs and create unnecessary debate, and we'll call this one a tie. Number three is your friends. So what console are your friends on currently? Are they going to be loyal, or will they be jumping ship? These are all things that you might want to take into account. If you're still at school, you might be inclined to go with whatever your friends do, but if you're a bit of a quote-unquote older gamer like me, it's not so much a big deal. For me, I've got about 20 or 30 friends on the Xbox, so that's where this section stamp is going for me. Number four is launch titles. So picture this, you've just bought your sexy console, but it's pretty much an expensive brick unless you have something to play on it. So let's take a quick look at the launch titles. Both the Xbox and the PS4 have some pretty good titles, and in the interest of time, I'm just going to call this one a tie as well, mainly because I think Drive Club and Forza pretty much cancel each other out, and I equally love the look of both Killzone and Rise. I think they look like two fantastic games. I'm an FPS kind of guy, so if I suppose I had to choose one and give a slight edge, it would be to the PS4, mainly because of Killzone and how much I like the look of that. But alternatively, if you're more of a driving game fan, then I'd probably be right in saying that you would think that Forza is actually a better choice over Drive Club. So there's no clear winner in this, and this one's a tie as well. Number five is multimedia, and this one is largely dependent on where the console is going to be placed in your home. If it's going to be part of your lounge room, you'll probably find that the voice activation side of things, or the Xbox One, will be quite handy. Not to mention the partnerships that are currently in place for American residents like ESPN and Netflix though. That said, a lot of the features are actually to do with the TV functionality, and they're largely for an American audience. So at least for the moment, I'm not sure how some of these other features which were advertised in the launch are going to be relevant to other countries, but it's still a much nicer interface and has more functionality than the PS4. So for this one, we'll award the stamp to the Xbox One. Number 6 is exclusive, so this is where things start to get really interesting. There are a number of games on each console that look really good. Like I said, with Killzone, I like the look of Infamous Second Son, but for me, I really can't go past Titanfall, Forza 5, Quantum Break, and what will eventually be Halo 5. I've loved every Halo and Forza to date. Quantum Break looks pretty damn insane. But Titanfall, I mean, it's a little tricky in that it will probably be making its way to the PS4, so it's not, I suppose, a true exclusive. But if there was ever a game to buy a console for, I think Titanfall would do it for me. So I'll declare the winner for this one to be the Xbox One. Factor number 7 is the controller. Never before in human history has an inanimate object divided so many people so quickly, but for me, an Xbox controller just feels a bit meatier, a bit more solid in my hands. It's not without comparison because I've had the original PlayStation right from day one, but it just didn't feel the same. It didn't feel as solid in my hands. It didn't feel like it filled out my hands as much. I do like some of the improvements that the PS4 controller has built into theirs, but at the end of the day, it really does come down to feel and how long how good your hands are going to feel after a big gaming session, and that for me is just the Xbox controller, so that's the winner in this category. So for the final category, I've called this one miscellaneous, because there are a few things that, whilst they aren't huge, they still should be taken into account to a certain extent. One thing that did spring to mind is what bundles were going to be on offer at launch, and also what bundles might actually pop up, say around the Christmas period when there's going to be a lot more sales. There is actually a rumor going around at the moment where the PS4 might actually be bundled in with the PS Vita, which if true could be absolutely brilliant and may serve as the tipping point to get people over the line to either jump camps to the PS4. Another thing to think about is we saw evidence in a recent IGN unboxing is the inclusion of what looks to be a much better quality headset with the Xbox One. It's not an earbud arrangement like the PS4, and it looks to be an okay bit of kit for a fairly stock handset, so that'll ensure those squeakers are there from day one, which will be nice. And the other thing to consider, and this is a bit of a biggie for me, is that if you're a COD fan, you'll probably be wanting to get that DLC first on the Xbox One instead of having to wait the month or so to get it on the PS4. No word on just how long this timed exclusive will be going for, but you'd have to think, given the current generation, it's probably around about 3 or 4 weeks or so. But it's going to be a decent length of time for it to even be considered an exclusive. So let's tot everything up and see what conclusions we came to, and well, wouldn't you know it, it looks like I'll be getting an Xbox One, which, if I'm honest, I was probably leaning towards in any case, but I thought it'd be beneficial for you to see down on paper and the process that I went through to come to this conclusion, and so that you knew that I wasn't so much being led by the crowd, so to speak. So that brings us to the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it and that it made things potentially a little clearer. Obviously, if it made things harder for you, then I profoundly apologize. But if you did enjoy it, please feel free to shoot me a like. Subscribe to me for some more content coming up shortly. And also let me know in the comment section below if there are any other factors that you think I may have missed out on in the video. In the meantime, this is SkeelsyShoota signing off. Have a great day in your part of the world, and I'll see you on the next video.